2026 Lamborghini Temerario is all about visceral thrill sits powered by an all-new 10,000 RPM V8. Because Lamborghini's customers don't want an EV when it comes to raw performance. Particularly in a straight line, the internal combustion engine has already lost the battle with a silent but deadly electric motor. But, to some, us included, the experience also matters, often more than the numbers. That's what Lamborghini tells us it keeps hearing from its customers, who say that engine sound ranks in their top 3 critical attributes. So, while a Lambo EV will no doubt happen at some point, it's not on the immediate horizon. Instead, the company just spent a pile of money developing an all-new twin-turbo for 0.0-liter V8 for the Temerario, which has big contact patches to fill, as it's replacing the Huracán, the company's most successful sports car ever. The Temerario's engine makes 789 horsepower and spins to a stratospheric 10,000 revolutions per minute, higher than any other regular production V8. The sound and the fury standing behind it or sitting in the driver's seat. It makes a great first impression. Raspy, exotic sounding, and quick to rev. The pull through the meat of the rev range is shockingly linear for an engine. That makes oodles of boost. And you must watch the attach carefully when in the most aggressive Casa mode, because tugging at the fixed paddles for manual upshifts is required. And the V8 is in no way running out of breath as it approaches its 5-digit red line. High-energy sound fills the cabin, enhanced by a mechanical connection between the engine and the firewall, but no electronic fakery. However, pulling both paddles to select neutral while rolling is no way to show off, as the rev limit is a neutered 3,000 revolutions per minute. There's no question about one thing. The new V8 isn't nearly as loud as the Huracán's V10. Standing trackside in Portugal as Temerarios rocketed down the Estoril Circuit's 6-mile straightaway approaching 190 miles per hour. The noise was almost equal parts engine song and wind rush, whereas the Huracán's characteristic syncopated wail from the uneven firing order of its naturally aspirated 5.2-liter V10 was always overwhelmingly dominant. The Temerario's thrust, however, is immense, with the V8 getting a direct assist from a 147 HP electric motor connected to its crankshaft. That fills in while the huge turbos are spooling. Lamborghini calls it a hot V engine, but really, the turbos are so large they sit fully above the top of the valve covers. It's a similar, but not quite identical setup to that of the Revuelto. Both have 3 electric motors, but the Revuelto's rear motor is instead downstream of the transmission and can power the rear wheels. The front setup is identical, with 2 147 HP electric motors that share a housing and provide torque vectoring. But, as with the Revuelto, the Temerario's 3.4 kWh battery pack can only output 187 horsepower, which makes for 907 peak horsepower and 590 pound-feet of torque. As with its big brother, the Temerario is a plug-in hybrid with about 5 miles of front-drive electric range, which helps it to keep its emissions figures moving in the corporately acceptable direction. That's a staggering 276 horsepower, more than the most powerful Huracán. But, no matter the segment, curb weight bloat is inescapable these days. And the Temerario's hefty electric hardware and larger footprint add roughly 650 pounds over the Huracán. Still, the power-to-weight ratio is firmly in the Temerario's favor. When you click the launch control button on the steering wheel, the rear motor pulls against the engine, so it can load up before a clinical low slip leap off the line. The rapid-fire upshifts that follow happen at a slightly higher 10,000 to 150 revolutions per minute. And Lamborghini says it will get to 60 miles per hour, just 0.2 seconds slower than the Rave Welto. Based on our testing, that would put the Temerario at 2.4 seconds to 60 miles per hour and 9.9 seconds in the quarter mile. For those in search of something rowdier, there's also a mode to maximize wheel spin up through the first for gears. This is how, in its recent run up the hill at the Goodwood Festival of Speed, the Temerario left in a cloud of tire smoke totally uncharacteristic of an all-wheel drive car. Driving the Temerario took us a little while to decide that the steering is disarmingly light. At first, it seemed too light and devoid of feel. But as we got acclimated and reduced our grip on the wheel, the feedback started coming through. The weighting also has the intended effect of making the Temerario feel extremely light, agile, and tossable. The intense power does the same thing with acceleration. So it's not until you go for the firm brake pedal that the Temerario's estimated for 1,100-pound bulk is even perceptible. The new Lamborghini 8-speed dual-clutch transmission that's mounted transversely behind the engine and is shared with the Rave Welto bangs-off swift and aggressive shifts. The most aggressive tires are Bridgestone Potenza Race Rubber, 255 35ths ZR20 in front, 325 30ths ZR1 in back. Lesser Bridgestone Potenza Sport tires are also available, and they're all but slicks on the outer third of their tread. But Lamborghini also makes impressive claims about their longevity, claiming that a set with over 30 laps at Estoril ran within a second of the time a fresh set posted. Lamborghini also admits that these tires are giving up a slight amount of ultimate grip to avoid the hero tire phenomenon that's common among the grippiest rubber, while it's nevertheless strong. The Temerario doesn't feel like its grip is on par with the Corvettes or ones on Michelin Pilot Sport. Cup to rupees. The Lambo is far more playful and less buttoned down too. But remember, this is the opener with more track-focused variants sure to follow. The control strategy to get this complicated powertrain to feel seamless is a massive undertaking that Lamborghini developed in-house. It uses a real-time computation of the various actions the subsystems are taking, such as the level of side-to-side torque transfer at the front and rear axles, while constantly interpreting the driver's inputs to decide whether to bias toward stability or playfulness. It will work to stabilize during high-speed braking, but aggressive steering and throttle inputs coming out of turns will unleash the sideways, with sport mode biased more toward fun and Casa more serious about going quickly. Our early laps were tentative and the car felt very tidy. You can feel the front axle yanking its way out of corners. But the aggressiveness of our inputs increased with our comfort level, and we eventually found ourselves wagging the Temerario's tail. Even then, we could feel the front end working to keep things from getting too out of shape. There's also a drift mode with 3 levels of leniency that directs negative torque to the inside front and positive to the outside to help initiate a slide that the system then works to control. In level 3, it lets the car get sufficiently out of shape that spinning is still possible. What lies beneath underneath the Temerario is an all-new aluminum space frame, designed in conjunction with the non-ferrous metal experts at Audi and built at the same Neckarsum, Germany, plant that's birthed plenty of all-aluminum Audis. The structure is optimized to use fewer pieces and welds than before, while improving torsional stiffness by a claimed 20%. Lamborghini's entry-level wedge is 9.7 inches longer with 1.5 inches more wheelbase, and significantly wider to 0.9 inches. And and taller 1 point for inches than before. 2, as a key part of the Temerario's brief was to make it more accommodating. There's a reason we assigned our shortest driver to pilot the Huracán Technica. At our 2023 Lightning Lap, legroom is up by 1.8 inches, and headroom under the gurney bubbles in the Temerario's roof has increased by 1.3 inches. With a helmet on, this 6'5" wheelman was a bit cramped in a car with the standard 18-way comfort seats, which include heating and ventilation functionality, but was comfortable with the manual bucket seats that sit slightly lower. And I didn't even need to adjust the seat all the way back. In the infotainment department, the Temerario adds a screen in front of the passenger, and there's a new available 3-camera system that provides data overlays over there for K imagery, as well as functioning as a built-in dash cam. The Temerario isn't as in your face as the Revuelto, with lines that are more elegant and less knife-edged than the Huracán and the Gallardo that preceded it. What you'll probably spot first about a Temerario heading your way are the hexagonal daytime running lights, with the top half also functioning as turn signals. Air flows through them and is accelerated as the passage next down toward the front. Radiators, just next to them toward the center of the car, are far less obvious brake cooling ducts. And there's also a well-hidden S-duct built into the front end where, at high speeds, air roots up and over the car to reduce front-end lift. At the rear, one of our favorite elements is the bodywork at the sides rising dramatically to show a lot of rear tire tread. That bit gives off Countach vibes, maybe some Lancia Stratos too. In the middle, the rear diffuser protrudes significantly and is, in effect, the rear bumper. Time to pay up, there's a lightweight Aladrita package that saves 28 pounds and runs a steep $49. 113. It adds a number of carbon fiber bits inside and outside, including a front splitter and steeper rear spoiler that improve rear downforce by 50%. The $26,200 carbon fiber wheels can roughly double those weight savings. Still, the Temerario is a low downforce car and thus sure to be an absolute high-speed missile. Any assessment of ride quality and overall livability will have to wait, because Lamborghini only let us drive around the 2.6-mile Estoril Circuit. U.S. deliveries start early in 2026, with pricing starting at an estimated $390,000. That's more than $200,000 less than the Revuelto and about $130,000 more than the last Huracán. Whether it's worth the cost of nearly the ZR1S probably comes down to how much you care about lap times. But its playful nature and wicked speed sure make it a vivid experience.